Welcome back. We hope you had a good break and are now ready for our next session on corporates and animal rights, the profits and the not-for-profits. Is there a meeting ground? The moderator for our session is Ishan Singh from the Plant Factor, and Ishan is a published author who has lived around the globe, having worked a number of years in the corporate sphere, internationally and nationally. He has a wide grasp of the inner working of various industries and the unique ways profits and non-profits interact. He currently works for the Plant Factor, which is fostering India's dynamic and cohesive entrepreneurial ecosystem for plant-based businesses, taking a collaborative approach at transforming the industry. Ishan, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. It's wonderful to have you. Today, we'll be starting our first panel with Mr. Aaron Ross and Wu Heng. Aaron Ross is a Vice President of Policy and Strategy from the Humane League, an international animal advocacy organization in the US, Mexico, Japan, and the UK. Aaron is a co-founder of the Open Wing Alliance, a global coalition of 80 organizations focused on ending cages worldwide, and has been active in the movement for 20 years and has led groundbreaking campaigns for animals around the world. He specializes in corporate negotiation, strategy, and mass mobilization. He resides in Baltimore. Wu Heng is the chief executive and founder of East. He had campaigned for 20 years to change the plight of animals in Taiwan and is one of the leaders of Taiwan's animal protection movement. We will now pass the floor to them to introduce us to their topic.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aaron Ross, and I'm the Vice President of Policy and Strategy at the Humane League. I'm very excited and honored to be here today. Thank you to the organizers for having me. I'm going to be speaking about the role that pressure can play in building positive relations with companies. In 2016, the Humane League founded the Open Wing Alliance, a global coalition of nearly 80 organizations working across 63 countries, who all come together under the shared mission to end cages for egg-laying hens. We share campaigns, strategies, tactics, and resources around the world related to this campaign. Together, in only about 5 years, we have gotten over 2,000 of the world's largest food corporations to make cage-free policies all around the globe. While we have gotten some of these by partnering and collaborating positively with companies, the vast majority have come from pressure. One of the main ways we do this is by launching extremely aggressive pressure campaigns aimed at key brands. In these campaigns, we do everything from altering the cherished logos of corporations, and we make customized websites and videos associating the company with extreme animal cruelty. We hold protests in front of key locations, not only at the primary target, but also the business partners of the primary target. We also attack companies on their social media pages and launch viral social media campaigns. We launch full-page ads in newspapers. And we do more creative ads against companies, like hiring mobile billboards to drive around the company's headquarters all day during the duration of the campaign. And we drive in thousands of messages from our customers and supporters demanding that the company make a change. And essentially, we drive the company to the point where it is easier for them to adopt the policy that we're asking, rather than deal with the weight of our campaign. So why would a company want to work with us after this? Many organizations assume that if they campaign against a company or pressure them in negotiations, it would ruin the relationship and the company would never speak to them again. But what we have found is that while this is true sometimes, more often than not, companies will work with us even more closely than before we campaigned against them. And this is because it gets companies to take us very seriously. They've seen the damage that we can inflict, and this gets us in the boardrooms with CEOs, executives, and investors. And this makes it easier to pressure other companies without even having to campaign against them directly, because they see what we do to their competitors. And then companies want to work with us to know what animal welfare issue is next on the horizon so that they can get ahead of it. And we will see companies start to expand their animal welfare policies and go beyond just cage-free. And now we even see companies that we once pressured or who once opposed cage-free who are now joining our side in lobbying the government to ban cages. And one of the keys to our success is that we always show respect to our opponents, even when pressuring them, even if the pressure is cruel and aggressive. This is especially important knowing how prideful executives and CEOs can be. You don't want to unnecessarily instigate your opponent or be unnecessarily inflammatory. And finally, I would like to point out that this aggressive approach and the use of pressure tactics works in harmony with other approaches, such as partnering with companies and supporting them, providing them with technical support, uniting suppliers, and things like this, which my friend Wu Heng will talk about next. Thank you very much. I hope you found this helpful and that you enjoyed the rest of the conference. Bye.
Hello, I'm Wu Hong from East Taiwan. Nice to meet you here. This is my pleasure to share my experience or some of my thought about the cage-free movement in Taiwan. First of all, I think we have to see the difference between Asia and Western society. Based on my observation, I think there's three key different areas between West and Asia society. First is, I think most of the Asian society are still collectivism, not so much individualism like those in Western society. People consider the whole society is more important than individual. So the animal protection and the cage-free individual chickens, laying hens, so it's quite distant to people's mindset in their daily life. So, so the second one is I think that it is quite general that the infrastructure for animal protection or animal welfare in Asia society much behind than those in North America or Europe. So, for example, the legislation is not there. The academics research is not there. The companies, the people's general idea about animal protection is just much behind. And the third one is we are not so much the civil society, although we have some movement. For example, environmental protection movement. We have human rights movement. We have a children protection movement in Asia, but compared to the Western society, I think the civil society is not mature. The government or the academics, their attitude to the civil society is not quite open, not very open. So based on these three different areas, I think, although I think the corporate outreach is very important, and the policy commitment for individual company to do or to promise certain period of time, certain percentage of their eggs used in certain period, in certain certain time period, is very difficult. Although I think we should do our best to approach this policy commitment. However, we should take more holistic point of view or approach to help to other than this corporate policy commitment. What I mean is that maybe some company, they would like to try to get to some certain percentage or even just a trial order to use the cage-free eggs. We should encourage them and not to go directly to a policy commitment at first hand. Once you build up a relationship with this company or this factory, then they will understand the benefit of using these cage-free eggs, whether it's quality of their products or in terms of demand, the higher selling price, higher price, or higher consumer support, or even higher CSR company image in the society. They will be helped. So so not only on the corporate, we also try to build up the supply end to help to help those cage-free farmers. Those are pioneers. They transfer from a traditional cage system to the alternative system, and because they are pioneers, so they are lonely. They need to support. They need to have to build up the coalition between them and to bridge them to the company, to the users, and even sometimes we arrange a meeting between them and the governments. That will help them to build up the momentum. So we are actually working on the demand side and the supply side. So that will help overall that the cage-free eggs movement will be better perceived and by the government, by the industry, and by the market side. Thank you very much. We'll very much welcome any questions.
Thank you so much. It was a very interesting perspectives. I also want to ask the audience humbly to please feel free to ask questions. There's an option on the Ask a Question tab. So any questions you have during our sessions, big or small, we're here to answer them. So feel free to do so. Our next introduction will be for Mr. Aduane Joseph D. Alcantara from the Asian campaign. He's an Asian campaign manager for the Be Cruelty-Free campaign. A teacher by profession who has been working on policies, education, and training with non-governmental organizations for more than 10 years. He joined the Humane Society International in May 2018 to work on the Be Cruelty-Free ASEAN campaign and the plant-based campaign in the Philippines. Joseph will be discussing the AFSA collaboration towards a cosmetic animal testing ban in the ASEAN region. I pass the floor to him now.
Good day to all. Our presentation is about the Animal-Free Safety Assessment, or what we call AFSA for short, collaboration towards a cosmetic animal testing ban in the ASEAN region. This work is part of the Be Cruelty-Free campaign of the Humane Society International, or HSI for short. To start, the Be Cruelty-Free campaign of HSI is a campaign fighting cosmetic animal testing for more than a decade now. It has 3 specific activities, namely public and corporate policy, consumer awareness, and lastly, training and capacity building. In public and corporate policy, the work is on a global scale, where HSI campaigns help secure the European cruelty-free precedent and drove similar bans in India, Taiwan, New Zealand, South Korea, Australia, and Guatemala. The goal of the policy activities is the adoption of EU-like cosmetic animal testing and marketing restrictions in major beauty markets. Currently, there are 40 federal measures in place, and additional legislative measures are in development or discussion in the US, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Sri Lanka, South Africa, and our work in the ASEAN region. On consumer awareness, our work includes social media, getting celebrity support, media coverage or partnership with bloggers, cruelty-free list or certification, and many more. On education and training, our work includes investment in non-animal infrastructures and training, funding the development of educational tools and hands-on training for companies and government scientists, and participation of intergovernmental networks such as OECD to support accelerated global acceptance of modern alternatives. In our ASEAN campaign work, HSI and Ipsos conducted a public opinion poll in October 2019 to determine how likely the ASEAN consumers would support the animal testing ban. The research findings will be shared by HSI in the context of dialogue with policymakers, regulators, companies, media, and other stakeholders. More than 2,000 people across the ASEAN region aged from 18 to 65 years old were interviewed about their readiness to support animal testing ban, awareness on animal testing on cosmetics, as well as support on labeling if animal testing is done. The poll showed only 51% awareness on animal testing in the ASEAN region, but a remarkable 87% support for animal testing ban in the ASEAN region and 89% agreement that products should be labeled if any animal testing was done on the ingredient. We are hopeful that, like the similar trend in our work in other countries, that the 87% support for animal testing in the ASEAN is a sign that a cosmetic animal testing ban is possible. Since in our work in Australia with 81% support in the public opinion poll, South Korea with 70%, and Brazil with 66%, that are all lower than the 87% support in the ASEAN, a cosmetic animal testing ban eventually passed. We can say that the meeting ground between HSI's Be Cruelty-Free campaign as a not-for-profit with profit corporations in the AFSA collaboration is between our public policy and legislation in our Be Cruelty-Free campaign, assisted by the education and training that the AFSA collaboration provides. The goal of the Be Cruelty-Free campaign is 50% of global cosmetic market loss banning cosmetic animal testing and trade, while the goal of AFSA collaboration is a world where the safety of chemicals, cosmetics, therapeutics, and other products is assured using modern human biology-based predictive tools. These two goals complement each other, and the public policy work of the Be Cruelty-Free campaign gains more success with the assistance of the AFSA collaboration, education, and trainings. The Animal Free Safety Assessment Collaboration brings together corporate and nonprofit organizations who share the goal of accelerating a modern, species-relevant approach to safety assessment globally to better protect people and our planet and hasten the replacement of animal testing. As an animal welfare organization, HSI's professional development on new research and breakthroughs in non-animal testing is limited. This is complemented through the help of professionals and our corporate partners who have been generous in giving their help and expertise in the creation of the training modules and also in its delivery. Going back now to the main activities of the Be Cruelty-Free campaign and how AFSA collaboration help, let's start with education and training. You can also view more about the AFSA collaboration at afsacollaboration.org. Currently, there are 8 training modules being developed to educate and promote non-animal testing. This includes elements such as exposure-led non-animal risk assessment approach, problem formulation, decision-making frameworks, and risk assessment case studies. Tools in the module includes exposure-led risk assessment, predictive chemistry, history of safe use, data generation, and next-generation risk assessment approaches. Modules are developed to be delivered through webinars, videos, one-pagers, through the AFSA website, continuing education sessions, symposia, academic lectures, and collaborations. These modules are made possible with the continuous help of experts from our corporate partners. They help in both its creation and delivery as the speakers. On consumer awareness, through the AFSA collaboration, we also get help from our corporate partners in promoting some of our advocacy and awareness campaigns, like our recent Save Ralph video, which can be viewed in hsi.org/Ralph. Our corporate partners are promoting now this advocacy video in their sites and social media. On public and corporate policy, the cosmetic policy alignment we are looking for in our work in the ASEAN region is a cosmetic animal testing ban in the ASEAN Cosmetics Directive. The policy work is assisted by our corporate partners who help us in communicating with regulators and also with government in the ASEAN region. As you can see, our campaign work has received assistance from our corporate partners made possible by the AFSA collaboration. And although the meeting ground is education and training, it also helps our other campaign work because the more we educate and train people about the importance of our work, the greater the chance that our campaign will succeed. To end, the goal of our work is to protect all animals around the world, and we know each organization present here are doing their best for all animals, and there is still much more to be done and new opportunities to do them, especially now that corporate environmental sustainability is starting to be a must for corporations. We believe that education and training is but only a start of the many other meeting grounds we can work with profit corporations. That's all for our presentation, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Joseph. Of course, I'd like to ask to the audience again that if you have any questions, big or small, please do feel free to raise them in your Q&A option. We'll be happy to address them. I'd also like to thank Joseph for such an informative session. We're now going to speak to Mr. Guan Heng, Vice President for Center for a Responsible Future. Guan Ho is a stalwart crusader of the vegetarian, local, organic, environmental, and corporate social responsibility movements in Singapore for many years. An active member of the CRF, Guan Ho was elected Vice President after serving 2 years as the Honorary Treasurer. He's actively involved in several other NGOs such as the World in Theatre, ASHRAE Singapore chapter. His passion is to do as many arts, social, and charity projects as he can in his lifetime. He was awarded the Singapore Prestige Brand Award by the Association of Small and Medium Enterprises, as well as the Emerging Enterprise 2012 Finalist Award from the OCBC Bank for his entrepreneurship. Guan Heng will be discussing promoting plant-based diets for a greener, healthier, and more compassionate world. I pass the floor to him.
Hi, good day to everybody. My name is Guan Hao. I'm from CRF, Central for a Responsible Future. Together with me is my colleagues, Joanna. Okay, Joanna is the Executive Director of CRF as well. Okay, let us briefly run through a review about CRF and how we engage with the corporates. Okay, CRF is known as the Vegetarian Society of Singapore, VSS. We were born in 1999. We are one of the oldest organizations in Singapore promoting plant-based diet. As you can see in this slide, okay, we encourage and create awareness of moving people toward a plant-based lifestyle, making a more compassionate choices for all animals, and making more environmental sustainable choices. Improving people's health and fitness through an active plant-based lifestyle, and most importantly, grow plant-based product and business. We believe in inclusiveness because it takes everybody to join in this effort. So corporates and plant-based movement, they are not a mutually exclusive entity or event. Together, we work as one, okay? Yeah. So we engage with thought leaders, educational content in plant-based and sustainable space. We even invited like ministers to join in as a VIP guest of honor to open the ceremony. We outreach and raise awareness through building through our flagship events We organize social gathering and build a strong sense of community support. We created a business platform and host bi-monthly session to increase the quality, demand, availability of plant-based and sustainable products in the market. So we do outreach and raise awareness through all these flagship events. We even have like quality and educational games and materials on the topic of plant-based diet. We organize like education tours, activities. We visit the supermarket, to teach people about all these plant-based products that's available in the supermarket. Visit the organic farms and also like sanctuaries and sustainable resort. So with this, right, we organize and we build a strong, cohesive community. We even work with veganery for a few years, and for this year, we built a very good community and a large followers and supporters for this campaign. Joanna will go in depth for all these things in her next slide. Okay, back to you, Joanna.
Hi, thank you all, and have a good day to you. I am Joanna, Executive Director of CRF. So I guess a better way to introduce Center for Responsible Future to you guys is to showcase some of the activities that we carried out in the year 2020. So moving on to the next slide. So 2020, as with many corporates, many nonprofits, many individuals, has been a trying year for all of us. Nonetheless, we still pushed on and tried to carry out our various events, sessions with both individual and our business partners. So we started off in January with Veganery. So Veganery is one of our key campaigns that we constantly push out, and our end objective is really for the public and people to encourage them to introduce plant-based diet into their lifestyle. So we started off with that, and we also included more physical events for individual members so that we can encourage them to a plant-based diet. Subsequently, in February, March, May, we always often engage our other side, our other counterpart, which is our business members or business partners, to come in for networking sessions and also sharing of some of their business launches and business product. Going forth in the second half of 2020. So yes. So 2020 has been quite a downturn because all physical events have been cut off. Nonetheless, we carried all this through our online adoption. So as Guan has said, both our aspect, whether it's individual, community or business, we try to be as inclusive as possible. So you could see from June to December, there's a good range between a online business talks to business members to share more about how do you do encourage plant-based diet in these trying times for businesses, to individual event like Swap for Earth, where we encourage plant-based diet alongside with sustainable initiative, partnership with various social enterprise, non-profit in Singapore. So let me focus on two of the key activities that we did. So let's move on to the next slide. So as mentioned earlier, Veganery is one of the key events that we do. So we will try to work with various nonprofit, various social enterprise, and various even government initiative for this event. So we had a very, very successful 2020 event where we saw 70% increase in participant. And this has more than tripled since 2018 when we started. So this is definitely not an effort just by CRF. Why our impact could be so lasting and could be much greater is because we often cooperate with various counterparts, and they could be our government, like the Enterprise Singapore. It could be various social enterprises, and of course our business partners who all collectively make this a success. So going forth to our other event. So the other event that we have is Swap for Earth. So we understand that in order to also encourage plant-based diet, we try to put our initiative together with other initiative or vision that's in line with ours. So Soap for Earth is a very, very good example. It is a virtual eco-conscious festival with the end outcome to try to swap your mindset, to learn, connect, empathize, and act, so you can have strengthened integration to our planet and people. And eating is a good and important initiative out of this that we shouldn't forego. Hence, we work with another social enterprise, Soap for Earth, to come up with this whole event to encourage people to adopt plant-based diet into their lifestyle. So I'm going forth. We'd like to share some of the partnership because in order to further our mission, we have collective efforts together with our various partners, like a nonprofit 注知 Foundation, where we share what we do in CRF and we do a collaborated cross marketing, same as the other festival like Healthy Conscious Festival by Green is the New Black. We also work with other counterpart like Plant Feed Movement to push plant-based diet into a further in Singapore. So we also have other collaboration. We try to be as effective in our donation drive as possible. I think one of the key aspects that we cannot, or we have to constantly remind ourselves, is that digitally they're moving very fast in other industry, and us as a nonprofit, we too should keep abreast of what are the initiative and also try to collaborate in this area so that we can always be the forefront of this arena. So that's what we did with A Billion Veg and Susgain. These two are two very, very interesting tech platform, where they encourage review of plant-based food and product. So for every review that was done on their platform, $1 will be donated to CRF. Likewise, we are one of the chosen charities, smaller charities, and under Singapore Caregiving.sg. So we are also awarded a certain sum of donations. So with that, I think we come to the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for your time, for listening to us. And of course, we hope to speak to all of you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joanne. Okay, I'll stop sharing the slides now. Okay, Joanne, just to mention about the last event that we did it with Temasek. Temasek is one of the biggest investor for the plant-based meat Impossible. Yeah, so they are definitely into this movement.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe you can elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. So in our currently in what we did in 2021, which just ended, it's a eco-prosperity event that is done with our sovereign fund, Temasek. So it was a very, very a big, huge campaign that it's called Eco-Prosperity, where they push a recipe for change. They do look at avoiding food waste, and they also look at choosing alternative protein. So this is where we come in, where we put our expertise to try to bring together people of expertise in the plant-based arena and share it with the community so that there's more adoption of plant-based diet from our local citizens.
Excellent, Joanna. Thank you so much for sharing. I think we've reached almost 10 minutes already. From here, we'll end this session. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again. It was a very interesting and wonderful session. I just want to again ask the audience, if you have any questions, big or small, feel free to raise them to us. We're here to answer them. I've got a couple of questions over here. So if the first one would be, does public pressure campaigns against companies work in Asian societies where loss of face is taken more seriously?
Sure, I can jump in and answer that, if that's okay. Yes. So I think assuming that the political atmosphere is friendly towards activism, then I think pressure campaigns can work just about anywhere. And a lot of organizations are very skeptical about pressure campaigns at first and worry that they won't work in their country for some reason, or that they will backfire and they will lose relationships with companies. But what we have found is that as long as the political atmosphere is friendly towards activism, and you have the ability to launch pressure campaigns, that they are effective just about everywhere. No company wants to be associated with extreme animal cruelty in the public. So I encourage you to try them. And I think they are optimized when, I think as Wu Heng was saying in his presentation, I think they are optimized when there is another group that can, or it could be your own group, but as long as there is a group that can also support the company. So they really work in harmony when there's a group that can support the company and when there's a group that can pressure the company.
Thank you. Joseph, Guan Ho, what are your thoughts on this as well?
I'll start, Guan. So on our end, it's a bit different actually because on our end, animal testing is a bit of a delicate matter. So we actually push more for education and training rather than giving more pressure, having campaign pressures to corporates or even to government. So it's more on our end educating and giving trainings and seminars to government officials, to corporations, so that hopefully they can understand the importance of our work.
Thank you. Guan Ho?
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, the thing is, there's always a need to be inclusive, and we have to work as a committee. It takes two hands to clap. You see, yeah. So when we talk with corporates, right, we need to be very professional. We need to understand what's their needs and requirement. Therefore, cater to so-called ROI or return on marketing, all these aspect of it. So when we engage with them, right, so certain things got to be a bit fine-tuned toward this needs, especially in Singapore context.
Thank you. We have another question now. So after an aggressive campaign or any sort of campaign, how does it impact your relationships with these companies or entities later down the road? And what are some of the approaches you do to create a more positive atmosphere? Guan Ho?
Yeah, maybe I smile too much. That's why you choose me to answer. Okay, one thing is food. Okay, food is a very emotional thing. It connects everybody together. Okay, so in order to reduce all this animal factory farming, right, you need to increase the availability of plant-based diet. Okay, any type of plant-based diet, and people are more than happy to choose plant-based diet when there's many choices available. So working with all these restaurants and suppliers of plant-based meat, it creates a spectrum of choice so the end consumer have a wide variety of choice. They enjoy the food and they'll give a lot of praises to the plant-based diet. And at the end of the day, it can effectively reduce number of animals being slaughtered or reared for factory farming. Yeah.
Okay. Joseph, any thoughts?
Is on our campaigns, whenever we released an activity, it actually undergoes also consultations to our corporate partners in the AFA collaboration, since animal testing is a very delicate matter actually. And cosmetic animal testing is actually just a start of the other animal testings that are an issue to animal welfare. So our work on cosmetic animal testing is it's like a tip of the iceberg actually of the other concerns on animal testing all throughout. And whenever we release activities, actually, we consult our corporate partners on how it would affect other issues as well on testing. And we make it a point that sometimes if ever an issue has been a concern through the AFSA collaboration, there is a open dialogue to all the members in there so that both the corporations and also the non-government organizations can openly communicate on what are their thoughts on our campaigns and activities whenever it happens.
Thank you. Aaron?
Yeah, I think one of the ways that we use these pressure campaigns to build positive relationships with companies is that we always make sure that there is a channel open for dialogue, and we always offer, even we're transparent with companies. We say, even though we're launching these aggressive campaigns against your brands, we're still here to talk. The door is always open. Please let us know. And most of the times when companies are not responding to us, when we are reaching out in a positive way, asking, hey, would you like to adopt this animal welfare policy? Most of the time we do get ignored. And then when we launch these campaigns, it gets the company's attention. And typically what happens is after the campaign is over and the company has produced a policy, they will invite us to come meet with them because they don't want to be on the wrong side of a campaign in the future. So they want to learn what are the next animal welfare issues on the horizon so that they can get ahead of them and know what's coming down the pipeline.
Okay. Thank you. Another question we'd like to ask as well is, how do you build credibility in a country or with an organization? Aaron?
Tough question. We build credibility. Again, I think we have a unique approach of launching these very aggressive campaigns. So I think, again, when companies don't take us seriously at first, that changes very quickly after they experience a campaign or they witness a campaign that's happening to one of their competitors. And that typically lends a lot of credibility. And then because of that, again, because of all the positive relations that blossom out of that, then we can partner with corporations. And once we've worked with a number of large key corporations, that is very credible when approaching other companies. So when we reach out to a given company like Nestle, and we say, hey, we've worked with Unilever, we've worked with Mondelez International, we've worked with Grupo Bimbo, that lends credibility just in itself.
Thank you. Joseph, any thoughts on this?
Yep, just like Aaron said, actually, on our work as well, we actually depend on our credibility actually with regards to the efforts done by other countries as well. It's a good thing that the organization itself is an international one. And whenever there is a country with a success and their campaigns, so we build on that success and we try to look into how we can more or less replicate what they have done as well. And based from the success of other countries, we were able to do great campaigns as well to some of our new countries where we have new campaigns as well, particularly right now in the ASEAN region. So most of our campaigns are actually built on what other countries have done as well in the past and how they had made their success especially in our policy campaigns.
Thank you. Guan?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me focus on the plant-based diet on this part. Number one, okay, when we met with all these corporates, we told them that, okay, there's a market for plant-based diet. There's definitely a market for it. And on the end consumer side, we educate the end consumer, the public, the masses about the benefit of plant-based diet and plant-based movement, be it from a health perspective, be it for animal welfare, animal rights, be it from environmentalism, be it reducing carbon footprint. You have everything all in one for you. See, so when there's a demand, it creates supply. When there's a supply, they create the demand. So it takes both hands to clap. Yeah. So we have to work together, and we will work with the government, our department, to raise awareness about this plant-based diet, this authentic protein, that this market for it. and there's potential market for it. So it triggers different stakeholder their interests. So as to join in this wave, yeah, that's how we create all this credibility, step by step, one baby step at one time. I just want to say that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. You have to take that step forward. Then it takes time to build up this momentum. Thank you.
Thank you. Just out of curiosity, was wondering what kind of pushback do you get from these corporations, especially because animal rights is a very strong view and a strong representation. So what kind of pushback do these corporates give, especially to when the topic is brought up? Guan?
Thanks again. Okay, basically, okay, different stakeholder has their own requirement, their terms and expectation. So it's meeting their expectation, and you have to talk in their language so as to let them understand. Okay, like in India, I'll talk about Ahimsa, the doctrine of non-violence. I'll talk about King Ashok building like animal hospital 2,500 years ago. Once when we talk with corporates, right, we are geared toward like okay, there's a business opportunity for you in plant-based diet, invest in it, and there's a demand for it, and you increase your market share, increase your marketing profile, all these things. That's how we talk to them in this aspect of it. Whereas for the animal rights masses in Singapore, all these animal activists, we are saying that, okay, adopt a plant-based diet is the best way to advocate about animal rights movement by adopting it. Start with your plate. You see, every day you're eating. You see, you can't stop eating for a day. Every meal you're eating. So start with your plate first. That's the most important step. And as for the environmentalists, we told them, okay, you want to reduce your carbon footprint, adopt a plant-based diet. Okay, let me quote from Dr. Will Turtle, one of the pioneer vegan activists in America. He told me that sow your seed of compassion, one at a time. One day you'll flower. Yeah.
Thank you. Joseph, your thoughts?
I guess everyone also has experience, just like us, on the pushback, especially with corporate partnerships. As you know, corporate partnerships might take only annually, so you might have their support for this year, but will not have their support by next year. So it's like you take it a year at a time, actually. And sometimes we get corporate support for this year, but for the following year, they would decline to support the campaign all throughout. Especially now with the COVID situation, there is much more pressing concerns to corporations, and we have lost some partnerships from corporations as well, which we had before for the past several years. And I think most organizations right now are experiencing it as well. And it's something that we hope we can nurture every time, that even because of course corporations have their own issues as well. And we hope that our campaign, our work will be as important to them as it is important to us every year. And we make it a point on our end to make more activities or campaigns that are more worthwhile for their efforts, and also for their money's worth, as well as our partners who contribute to the work.
Thank you. Aaron?
Yeah, I guess we have a more cynical view of corporations, and we think probably one of the biggest honest pushback that we get from corporations is that animal welfare is expensive, and corporations are motivated by one thing, and that is profit margins. So these two ideas, these two goals are conflicting. So I think one of the benefits of these pressure campaigns against companies is that we are not asking for partnership. We want them to adopt a policy, and that there are consequences for the company if they don't adopt that. So this actually has been favorable even during COVID, where companies won't use COVID as an excuse to not adopt a policy, because the last thing that a company wants during COVID is a public campaign against their brand. So that's how we deal with the pushback, is saying, hey, we will make it more expensive for your company to not adopt a policy. So we really speak their language and bring it back to cost.
Thank you. We've received another question. Okay. Pressure campaigns against popular brands, could we deem them as being counterproductive? And if so, how would one manage the public perception in such situations? Joseph?
On our end, it's a bit difficult actually, because there are actually brands on the AFA collaboration, and our Be Cruelty-Free campaign leans more actually on not giving derogatory remarks to other brands, but more or less promoting brands which are cruelty-free instead. So in our works, it's about telling people that these are the cruelty-free brands, but we're not actually letting people know that these are the brands that are not cruelty-free, don't buy them. So it's more of on a positive note on our end, that we promote those that are cruelty-free, but we don't more or less give negative remarks to those that are not cruelty-free brands.
Thank you. Aaron?
Let me quote you 3 real examples in the real life business context. Okay, number one being, CP. CP is one of the world's largest animal feed suppliers and chicken meat. Yeah, and also they are a big investor in China. Okay, CP has developed a new range of plant-based meat. That's already launched in Thailand already. And Omi meat by the Green Monday or Green Common based in Hong Kong. They also have their Omi meat produced in Thailand. Okay, you can see that. Okay, it's already sending a very clear message to all these big corporates. Okay, be the future of the food. If not, you'll be kicked out of the game. But see, that's the message we are telling them. You have to invest yourself in food. Yeah. In green food, in authentic protein, so that you can be part of the survival and thriver in the future. Okay. Second being Green Monday. Green Monday, if you Google them, they have been listed as one of the top 40s, under 40s, entrepreneurship of the year, everything. Okay, they even work with banks, city banks, all these big MMC into letting them adopting green-based diet. Green Monday, like a meat-free day per week. And also like Impossible, the Impossible meat. Okay, this Beyond Meat and Impossible Meat, they are one of the first wave of authentic protein in this world. So take a look at them and how the way they talk with the corporates, they're able to attract a lot of investment into all these things. So my summary is, we really need to work with them instead of making enemies with them. They are not nobody is your enemies. Make friends with them, telling them, okay, for our future, what do you want it to be? And for you, you need the profitability to answer to your bottom lines. And this plant-based diet can answer to this part. Yeah. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Aaron?
Yeah, I think that was a very good point. And I think it's very important, if you're going to be launching pressure campaigns, that it's an issue that the public will at least side with, even just partially, that you can gain some of the public's support. Because I think that if you were to launch a pressure campaign for instance, for plant-based products, I don't think that would work. I don't think that would be appropriate. But I think for animal welfare policies, for getting a company to stop a certain cruel practice, I think that's where the pressure campaigns are particularly effective. And again, I think they're most effective when you can at least get the public's tangential support on them.
Great, thank you very much. So have companies ever stopped talking to you after you campaigned against them? By any chance, Aaron?
It happens occasionally, but the majority of the time, it brings us much closer together with companies. But yeah, it happens every once in a while, but it's very rare. Most of the time, it gets companies to start partnering with us. For instance, this happened very recently with Restaurant Brands International. It's one of the largest restaurant franchisors on the planet. They were ignoring our emails about the cage-free issue. So we launched a worldwide campaign against their brands in all of their major markets. And they immediately started partnering with us, and we are working very positively with them now. And that's the typical story. That's what normally happens.
Thank you. Guan?
I have nothing much more to add.
No problem. Thank you so much. Joseph?
On our end, actually, we're working to be with them because to actually develop non-animal testing, you need a lot of actually research and data, and you can only get that much from non-government organizations. You get more research data, of course, from corporations, and the main objective actually of ASA collaboration is to get as much data as possible so that in the end we don't have to do animal testing anymore. And so that's why our work is more on building relationships with these corporations who have research data, so that hopefully the more data we can gather, the more we can end animal testing soon.
Great. Thank you. I believe we're reaching towards the end of our session. Just wanted to, first of all, thank everyone. Thank you, my esteemed guests. It has been wonderful to have you here. Most of all, it's been a pleasure to discuss such an exciting topic. And furthermore, I would like to say we hope to have another session like this again in the future, and wish you the best of luck. Stay safe and stay happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ishan. You did a wonderful job moderating this session. Thank you so much. And I would love to extend our heartfelt thanks to all the wonderful speakers that we've had here. Joseph, Aaron, Guan, thank you so much for those wonderful insights and the fantastic discussion that actually emerged from the questions that were posed from the audience as well as by you, Ishan. I think lots of food for thought there. So once again, thank you on behalf of all of us for being here and for sharing those wonderful insights through your presentations, through your discussions. And please do stay with us for the rest of the sessions if you can, and stay safe and stay happy and healthy.